Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at something our sources are calling, pretty explicitly, a global war. But this isn't about tanks or jets.
No, not at all. This is fought in massive data centers with, well, billions of dollars worth of GPUs. We're talking about the race for artificial general intelligence, AGI.
And it's really shifted, hasn't it? It's not science fiction anymore. It's the big, high-stakes, multi-billion-dollar battlefield for tech in 2025.
Absolutely. AGI,
Yeah.
achieving intelligence that can reason, learn, adapt, maybe even better than humans. It's become this huge corporate goal, and it's pushing these giants into making some really big, maybe even risky strategic moves.
And that specific kind of strategic move is exactly what we're digging into today. We've gone through a lot of documents detailing a particularly controversial plan. Elon Musk proposing Tesla invest $5 billion into his own private company, xAI.
Right, and that's all hanging on a really critical shareholder vote coming up in November 2025.
So, our mission in this deep dive is to give you real clarity on this. We want to unpack the connections, the synergy they're aiming for, the, frankly, huge financial risks, and the legal mess that's already brewing around this idea.
Yeah, we need to get past the headlines and figure out, does this move actually change what Tesla is? Is it shifting from just an EV leader to, I don't know, a fundamental AI platform?
Or is it maybe an overreach, something that could just drain money and focus away from their core business, especially in what's probably the most expensive tech race ever?
Let's start with the why. What's the core argument for this deal? Why merge Tesla's resources with xAI?
Well, the big picture, the vision Musk is selling, is creating this kind of accelerated, closed-loop AI system, something nobody else can copy easily.
Exactly. He wants to leverage Tesla's existing hardware. Think the Dojo supercomputer, and maybe more importantly, its enormous pool of real-world data.
And that data is key, isn't it? We're not just talking about stuff scraped off the internet here.
No, absolutely not. That's the unique angle they're pushing to justify this massive investment. Tesla has, what, over 500,000 cars out there?
Yeah, something like that. Acting as sensors, basically.
Right. Dynamic, real-time sensors all over the world, capturing tricky situations, edge cases, weird road conditions, how cars actually interact stuff that, a standard language model trained on web text just wouldn't encounter.
So the idea is to feed all that complex real-world data into xAI.
To accelerate Grok, their language model.
Yeah.
To give it a better grasp of the physical world, how things actually work out there.
And it flows back the other way too, right? Advancements at xAI are meant to improve Tesla cars.
Precisely. That's the closed loop. Any breakthroughs xAI makes in AI, potentially AGI, could theoretically be plugged straight back into Tesla's self-driving systems, maybe improve the in-car experience, customer service via
X, formerly Twitter.
Right. And don't forget Tesla's own computing power, especially Dojo. That gives xAI a massive head start in terms of the raw processing power needed without having to rely so much on outside cloud providers.
Okay, that sounds like a neat package on paper. But this is where things get kind of wild, the money involved. The numbers our sources show are dizzying.
Yeah, the risk profile is extraordinary.
Yeah.
xAI is apparently projected to burn through something like $13 billion just in 2025.
$13 billion in 1 year.
Mostly on compute, yeah. Heavy investment in servers, GPUs, that kind of thing. And despite that burn rate, they're reportedly looking for a $200 billion valuation in their next funding round.
Whoa, okay. $200 billion. How does that stack up?
Well, that's the gamble, isn't it? To give you some context, our sources mention market leader OpenAI is valued much higher, potentially $500 billion. But look at their user base.
Right, OpenAI has huge reach.
Estimated somewhere between 700 and 800 million weekly users.
Okay, and xAI. The estimate for xAI is closer to 30 million weekly users.
30 million versus 7 or 800 million. And they want $200 billion. Exactly. So that valuation isn't really based on current market share or traction. It's almost entirely pinned on the hope, the speculation, that Grok, fueled by that unique Tesla data, will eventually achieve some form of AGI and leapfrog everyone else.
Wait a second. $200 billion based on 30 million users, even with special data. And a $13 billion burn rate? That sounds, isn't that valuation relying almost completely on hype and Musk's reputation rather than anything concrete yet?
That's the absolute crux of it. The justification hinges entirely on this belief that true AGI, which would be an exponential game changer, Needs that kind of integrated physical world data loop that only Tesla can provide.
So if they pull it off, maybe the valuation makes sense in hindsight. If they don't,
If they fail, or even just stumble, that $5 billion investment from Tesla gets chewed up pretty fast by the ongoing costs. And it's precisely this speculative nature that's feeding the legal fire.
yes, the ugly side, as you put it, the legal drama. There are shareholders actively suing Musk, right? Which must complicate this vote.
Very much so. They're claiming a breach of fiduciary duty. The core argument is that Musk basically took a massive business opportunity building a major AI company and diverted it to his private venture xAI instead of keeping it within Tesla.
And that's particularly sensitive because of his history with OpenAI.
Exactly. He left OpenAI citing a potential conflict of interest back then. Now, the lawsuit argues he's created xAI, which directly competes with Tesla for scarce AI talent and potentially drains resources and focus from the core EV business he's supposed to be leading.
So the shareholders have the final say because the board is sort of stuck.
Pretty much. The board hasn't taken an official stance on the $5 billion proposal. Most people read that as quiet approval. But because of the lawsuit, Musk and the board members have to abstain from voting on this specific investment.
So for you, the listener, maybe an investor, the question is really stark.
It boils down to this. Do you believe xAI's highly speculative path justifies Tesla putting in $5 billion and potentially subsidizing that huge burn rate, especially while Tesla is also fighting tooth and nail to stay dominant in the increasingly crowded EV market?
That really sets the stage perfectly for the broader AGI arms race. To really grasp what Tesla's trying to buy into with this xAI bet, we need to look at the wider battlefield. What does AGI even mean to these companies right now?
In this context, AGI isn't just slightly smarter AI. It's about achieving a general level of intelligence, the ability to perform a huge range of tasks, reason abstractly, learn flexibly, basically operate out or even beyond human levels.
And the key difference from today's AI, like ChatGPT.
It's the ability to continuously learn and integrate new stuff after it's been deployed without needing massive retraining every time. That's the holy grail they're all chasing.
Okay, so in that race, OpenAI, the pioneer, is still kind of setting the pace, even if they haven't hit full AGI yet. What was so significant about their GPT-5 launch back in August 2025?
Well, the sources we looked at called GPT-5 a really major step forward. They describe this kind of sophisticated three-part structure. You've got the standard model for everyday tasks.
Okay.
Then an advanced reasoning part they actually call GPT-5 thinking. And then there's a real-time router that figures out which part of the brain, so to speak, is best for the specific thing you're asking it. It's more modular, more dynamic.
And how good is that thinking part? How far did they get with reasoning?
They're hitting levels our documents describe as PhD-level reasoning. I mean, look at the math tests. On the xAI 2025 benchmarks, these aren't simple sums. They're complex, multi-step problems. GPT-5 apparently scored an amazing 94.6% accuracy.
Wow.
And crucially, they also claim to have cut down on those factual errors, the hallucinations, by about 45% compared to the last version. That's a big deal for reliability.
So OpenAI is pushing the boundaries on pure digital smarts, but Google and DeepMind seem to be taking a different tack, focusing more on connecting AI to the physical world.
That definitely seems to be the core of their Gemini strategy. Yes, they're working on text and images, but they're really emphasizing logical thinking with something called DeepThink.
DeepThink.
Yeah, it's basically a tool that lets the AI simulate complex, multi-step reasoning internally before it gives you an answer. Try and make it think things through more carefully. But the really potentially disruptive part is Gemini robotics.
Gemini robotics. That sounds less like a chatbot and more like, well, robots.
It is. They call it a vision language action model. So the AI doesn't just understand text or images, it can actually do things. Execute physical actions.
In the real world.
That's the goal. They're aiming it squarely at industrial robots, advanced manufacturing, automating physical tasks, trying to move AI from being just a digital helper to a real physical collaborator.
And that ambition, covering both digital and physical, is maybe why there are these rumors about Apple.
It seems plausible. The sources suggest Apple is seriously negotiating to integrate Gemini into the next version of Siri. That could launch maybe as early as August 2025.
Which would be huge.
Massive. It would instantly put Gemini's capabilities onto hundreds of millions of Apple devices. That puts enormous pressure on rivals like Microsoft, Amazon, everyone fighting in that integrated AI ecosystem battle.
Okay, so we have the pioneer, the high-stakes gambler with Tesla xAI, and the ecosystem player like Google. But there are others pushing hard too, right? Like Meta. They seem determined to catch up.
Oh, absolutely. Meta is throwing serious money at this. The figure mentioned is around $15 billion just on data infrastructure and training hardware. But what's really fascinating is the focus on talent.
The people involved.
Yeah, Zuckerberg himself is apparently leading this elite team called the Fantastic 50. And the report suggests these individuals are getting massive salaries, like 9 figures. It sounds less like R&D and more like,
Yeah.
well, an AI talent arms race, trying to hoard the best minds.
Wow, okay. In Amazon, they're taking yet another different path, leveraging their strength.
Completely different. Amazon seems laser-focused on AGI agents through their platform called Nova Act.
AGI agents,
Mhm.
meaning?
These are AI systems designed to handle really complex sequences of tasks, mostly in simulated environments for now. Think super intricate supply chain management, optimizing logistics, automating huge chunks of e-commerce operations.
So less about general conversation, more about specific, complex jobs.
Exactly. Amazon's vision seems to be creating these advanced virtual employees that can manage large-scale operations with minimal human input, leveraging their expertise in logistics and scale.
It's incredible how diverse the approaches are, but this whole competition, this AGI race, it's not just happening in Silicon Valley, is it? It's truly global.
Absolutely. You can't ignore the global dimension. The documents make it clear that while U.S. companies get a lot of the headlines, China is rapidly becoming a major independent force in AI.
How are they approaching it?
They're definitely leveraging their huge scale of data, but significantly, they're also pushing hard to rely more on their own domestic semiconductor chips, especially Huawei's Ascend series.
Ah, so that's a strategic move, likely related to Western chip restrictions.
Precisely. It's about building technological self-reliance, insulating their AI development from potential sanctions or supply chain issues.
And which Chinese companies are really making waves globally using these domestic chips?
We're seeing 3 standouts in the reports. First, there's DeepSeek. They seem to have global ambitions and are really focused on making their AI cost-effective.
Okay.
Then there's Z.AI. It used to be Zipu AI. They've released a model called GLM 4.5 that's specifically tuned to run really well on those homegrown Ascend chips.
Interesting. And the third?
Moonshot AI. They seem quite technically sophisticated. Their big model is called Kimi K2.
Kimi K2, what's special about that? You mentioned something about an OE architecture.
Right, MOE stands for Mixture of Experts.
Yeah.
Kimi K2 is apparently a massive 1,000 billion parameter model, but it uses this MOE approach.
What does that mean, mixture of experts?
Think of it like having a huge team of specialized mini AIs inside the main model. When you ask it something, it doesn't need to activate the entire enormous 1,000 billion parameters. It just activates the relevant expert or combination of experts for that specific task.
Ah, so it's more efficient.
Much more efficient.
Hmm.
It gives them incredible speed and performance while potentially using less computational power overall. This allows them to compete really aggressively on cost and capability, even against the giant U.S. models.
So we have this relentless global race, billions pouring in, incredible tech breakthroughs. But it leads to a fundamental question, doesn't it? Is AGI actually here or close? Or is some of this just marketing?
Yeah, there's definitely a strong vein of skepticism running through the source material. A lot of analysts in international media, too, are asking if AGI is maybe being used more as a marketing buzzword right now.
To attract investment.
Exactly. Corporate AI spending is projected to be enormous, maybe $400 billion in 2025 in the U.S. alone. Calling your next AI model a step towards AGI is a very powerful way to capture a slice of that investment pie, even if the underlying tech is more incremental.
But the ethical concerns are real, regardless of the marketing hype. We're seeing warnings from top executives like Microsoft's CEO talking about the possibility of conscious AI,
Yeah,
and experts flagging risks like, mass manipulation or losing control.
for sure. And the documents are pretty clear on this point. Well, true, continuously learning AGI hasn't quite been achieved yet.
Mm-hmm.
The pace of development is faster than ever. It's that acceleration that makes the ethical and philosophical questions so urgent, moving them beyond just technical debates.
Which brings us to this really interesting, almost philosophical point from our sources, something that tries to distinguish raw superintelligence from what makes human intellect unique.
Right. The material talks about this difference between the loinoi, which translates roughly to the human core, and the loin-rawing AI, the AI hollow core.
That's a powerful metaphor. The human core versus the hollow core. What's the argument there?
The argument presented is that AGI's biggest weakness, perhaps its fundamental limitation right now, is its inability to genuinely achieve what the source calls empathy and compassion over superintelligence when dealing with really significant human issues.
So AI can be incredibly smart, logical, powerful.
But it lacks that core human capacity for genuine empathy, for compassion. That human core, the source argues, is our unique strength. It's what prevents pure intelligence from becoming just cold, hard calculation. It's seen as the truly essential part of human development and decision-making.
It really underscores just how complex this whole landscape is. I mean, this deep dive has touched on everything from modular AI structures and massive financial bets like Tesla.
To the intense global race involving the U.S. and China, the legal fights, the marketing versus reality debate, and ultimately these deep questions about what intelligence even means.
The AGI race is definitely not just one thing. It's technology, finance, risk, global strategy, even philosophy, all tangled together.
And hopefully, you now have a much clearer picture of the key subjects at the heart of this global competition. It's a competition that really does touch the future of, well, human development itself.
We really hope this deep dive provided that clarity for you today. Engaging with these complex, high-stakes topics is crucial. So if you found this useful, please do follow our channel. That way, you won't miss out on new content as this incredible global AI story continues to unfold.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.